Hypothalamus Artificial Intelligence, HI. Digital transformation powered by real-time, intelligent, and autonomous algorithms. Presents its solution based on decision-making artificial intelligence for the investment decisions. Valuation of electrical assets. The predictive artificial intelligence models are implemented in the General Algebraic Modeling System, GAMS, and use IBM C-Plex as the optimization solver. The two companies are business partners of HI. HI is a company at the forefront of high-performance artificial intelligence. HYPOWER is the autonomous and holistic optimization software for companies in the electricity sector. Objective and scope. The valuation of electricity assets is a problem that must be faced by market agents in their medium or long-term strategic planning activities. For this reason, HYPOTHALAMUS AI has developed a standard methodology to solve this problem, which is in place in accordance with the state-of-the-art of electrical system modeling. The objectives are: design a methodology, implement a technology, software, and use the software to solve a real case. The methodology must be based on mathematical models that allow this type of problem to be solved in an optimal way. Implementation of HYPOWER, offering state-of-the-art technology, with an incomparable quality-price ratio. Use and calibration of HYPOWER to be used on demand under mathematical modeling as a service, MAS, modality. This will enable the interested party to use HYPOWER at the right time and using the appropriate computational power. The usual thing in this type of study is that during the duration of the study intermittent executions are carried out. The valuation of electrical assets involves the performance of the following auxiliary studies. Demand prospecting study. Marginal cost pricing. Probabilistic prospecting of plant dispatch and revenue for multiple random scenarios. Energy trading and risk management, ETRM, optimization of energy buying and/or selling decisions in the energy market. Investment decisions. Valuation of electrical assets. Financial modeling. Asset and liability management. Four models are considered fundamental to support the strategic, tactical and operational decisions of the agent. The financial modeling included in HYPOWER is of the type of Assets and Liabilities Management, ALM.
ALM permite alinear los riesgos del ambiente que se reflejan en el balance y el estado de pérdidas y ganancias, tanto del lado de los activos, como de los pasivos. ALM correlaciona todos los riesgos de una organización, de manera tal que la exposición total al riesgo que enfrenta la organización no se ve reducida o aumentada, como ocurre cuando se ignora las estructuras de correlación de los riesgos.
ALM allows aligning the environmental risks that are reflected in the balance sheet and in the profit and loss account, both on the asset and liability side. ALM correlates all of an organization's risks in such a way that the total risk exposure faced by the organization is neither reduced nor increased, as occurs when risk correlation structures are ignored. ALM is defined as the management of assets and liabilities supported by stochastic optimization techniques for proper performance. This is achieved by structuring synthetic processes for the generation of probabilistic scenarios that are considered in the algorithmic procedures of multi-stage stochastic optimization.
Para representar los procesos, en los modelos ALM se tienen dos tipos de variables, inventarios y flujos financieros. Las variables de inventario, o de balance, son análogas a las cuentas de balance contable, y representan el estado de la cuenta después de las transacciones en un periodo. Por su parte, las variables de flujo son análogas a las cuentas de ingresos y egresos, y representan flujos netos ocurridos entre dos fechas, el comienzo y el fin de un periodo del horizonte de planificación. Se consideran tres tipos de ecuaciones básicas para el modelaje de planificación de cuentas financieras: balance de activos, balance de pasivos y flujo de caja.
To represent processes in ALM models, two types of variables are used: inventories and financial flows. Inventory variables, or balance sheet variables, are analogous to balance sheet accounts, and represent the statement of the account after transactions in a period. On the other hand, flow variables are analogous to income and expenditure accounts, and represent net flows that occur between two dates, the beginning and the end of a period of the planning horizon. Three types of basic equations are considered for financial account planning modeling. Balance of assets. Balance of liabilities. Cash flow. The modern is to use the International Financial Reporting Standards, IFRS. Electricity dispatch and financial analysis. Integration dispatch models with ALM, assets liabilities management, financial models, including risk management, to perform analysis of the financial impact of decisions. The main applications of high-power ALM are the valuation of income and expenses of investment projects, energy installations, and valuation of companies. Integrated optimization of investments by global energy companies, taking as a reference the regulatory laws of the different regions or countries. The financial modeling results individualize the operating income and expenses, and can include all types of legal accounts. Electricity supply chain design and risk management. Associated with strategic planning, long-term decisions related to design supply chain, in relation to capacity of reservoir, transfers, power plants and other assets of an electrical system. It includes risk management and financial planning. Energy trading and risk management. Optimal decisions related to trade energy and coverage of financial risks based on standardized or bilateral contracts. It corresponds to a set of mathematical models aimed at supporting the decisions of the different agents involved in energy trading in I. Long-term market, 2. Spot market, and 3. Secondary markets. The result of a risk analysis is the definition of Pareto curves of financial risk versus expected revenues/costs, based on which the decision maker must define the risk position he wishes to assume, varying between risk-prone and risk-averse. As a substantial improvement to the decision-making process, linking the financial model with the simulation models of the system and the energy market allows optimize tax management, dividends, capital repayments, payment/prepayment of liabilities, capital structure, and transfer pricing. Perform corporate financial risk analysis to obtain solid decisions that protect the organization against possible unexpected events. ALM involves linking demand, industrial and financial operations models. In this way, the company has a holistic vision. This is the minimum version of what is called enterprise optimization, as Professor Jeremy Shapiro calls it. Simulation of the dispatch of generation plants. For the simulation of the dispatch of generation plants, the interested may watch the video. High power. Enterprise-wide optimization system. Electricity and natural gas dispatch. The main version of high power is the result of the integration of optimization technologies, OpTex, Optimization Expert System, IBM Plex Optimization Studio, and General Algebraic Modeling System, GAMS. In 1998, the first version of high power, called SHTG, Sistema de Despacho Hidrotermico y Gas, was awarded by SEAM, with the Colombian Engineering Award of the College of Engineers of Colombia. SHTG was developed for a global oil company, to jointly analyze the electricity and gas markets. The oil company kindly authorized then Decisionware, to submit the work, withholding the name and maintaining all confidentiality of the data and results. SHTG was implemented using OpTex, the expert system in optimization. All the models that make up high power have been developed using the OpTex GAMS interface, using Plex Optimization Studio as a solver, and can run on deterministic or stochastic versions with user-definable uncertainty dimensions. The integration of the models is carried out automatically by OpTex, and the generated programs coordinate their communication through the database, using monolithic models, or in RAM memory using large-scale parallel optimization. Models can be solved using large-scale technologies, such as variations of Bender's theory, or Lagrangian relaxation, using parallel optimization to simultaneously solve all problems in which the monolithic model is atomized. New models can be introduced into high power as needed. High power can be adapted to the regulations of any country. In the video, high power, enterprise-wide optimization system, mathematical models. The interested party can review the conceptualization of high power. Valuation of electrical assets. The evaluation of the profitability of the businesses that a generator can carry out corresponds to the sum of several businesses. Spot market sales buying/selling in the long-term market sale of automatic generation control, AGC. Each business must be evaluated independently, unless there are facts of life whose economic implications must be respected. The valuation must be carried out without including the financing of the investment, and subsequently the financing must be included. The asset must be profitable in the spot market for the investment to be justified. The purchase and sale of energy may not be included in the valuation, the same with the AGC. The formula is net present value, NPV, equal to NPV spot market plus VPN energy trading plus VPN financing. High power allows the modeler to include scenarios composed of any number of uncertainty dimensions, which is not possible with other models in the models market. The number of uncertainty dimensions in high power is unlimited. The traditional process of financial evaluation of electrical projects is based on two coordinated steps. The feedback between the models is carried out by the decision maker, who accepts the situation or proposes a new scenario to continue the process. If there is no optimization model like high power, it is normal for this model to be done in Excel. The process of evaluating electricity market optimization projects involves a mathematical model that is the key factor to obtain good results. The end results are the financial statements and risk management. The high-power methodology integrates two models. ED, Economic Dispatch and Marginal Costing, ALM, evaluation of the impact of the financial statements, and the evaluation of financial risk. High power produces the optimal solution for the operation, or expansion, of an agent in the electricity market. Risk analysis, optimization of tax and financial decisions, and probabilistically characterized financial statements occur in a single step, guaranteeing the optimality of decisions. There are two alternatives to manage the models involved in the process. Coordinated, the models are executed independently and the optimal is sought through a cyclical conversation between both models. It may not reach the global optimum. Integrated, the models are integrated as a single monolithic model, and the optimum is sought in a single pass. It requires more computational effort but achieves the overall optimum. The high-power methodology integrates two models. ED, Economic Dispatch and Marginal Costing, ALM, evaluation of the impact of the financial statements, and the evaluation of financial risk. High power produces the optimal solution for the operation, or expansion, of an agent in the electricity market. Risk analysis, optimization of tax and financial decisions, and probabilistically characterized financial statements occur in a single step, guaranteeing the optimality of decisions. High considers this the best option. The project evaluation process, supported by optimization, begins with the high ED model, whose mission is to simulate the system for multiple scenarios, which allows to probabilistically characterize the response of the system in terms of plant dispatch series and spot price tariffs. To start processing in high ED, it is necessary to generate synthetic input series for the different dimensions of uncertainty, for example, GDP, fuel prices, construction costs, weather conditions, and anything else the modeler deems necessary. It is related to the dimensions of uncertainty. High-SIN can be an auxiliary version of high power that provides information on the operation of the interconnected system. The most important output is related to the scenarios that will affect the system through all dimensions of uncertainty. The results of high ED will serve as an input for the high ALM model, from which derived variables such as operating income and expenses are obtained, necessary to describe the variability of financial reports. Balance, income statement, and cash flow. With this information, the expected value of the profit and its volatility can be calculated. Finally, with the fiscal and financial information, the risk analysis of the project can be carried out, a determining factor to guarantee the robustness of the decisions made. Case: Valuation of an electricity generation company. In December 2013, Gen Express selected HY to advise it in the bidding process opened by the Colombian government for the sale of its majority stake in MW Express. In 2014, MW Express owned and operated 6 power plants, with a total installed capacity of 2.212 megawatts, MW, and an average annual generation of 9.500 gigawatts-hour, distributed in 1912 MW, hydroelectric, and 300 megawatts thermal. Its total generation during 2012 represented 16.45% of the electricity demand in Colombia, placing it as the third national generating company and as a fundamental agent in the development of the Colombian energy industry. To date, these are MW Express's electrical assets, a combination of hydroelectric plants, mini hydroelectric plants, thermal power plants and renewable energy plants. The mini power plants include pumping storage systems. Below are examples of results produced by HY Power. The graph describes part of the individualized financial analysis for each generation plant, focused on gross revenues and their probabilistic characterization. HY Power automatically produces the valuation of each asset, making analysis easier for decision makers. By analyzing each plant as a business, it is easy to determine which are the best and which are the worst. Gen Express could select which plants to buy and which ones not to buy. The graph corresponds to cash flow, income in blue, expenses in red, and the sum in green. The graph shows the average of the operational financial reference accounts, such as when all the energy is sold on the spot market. The optimization of the marketing policy by Gen Express is not considered, only the policy already committed by MW Express is considered. The graph presents the statistical indicators of net profit when the long-term marketing policy is optimized by Gen Express. The statistics are mean in blue, maximum in red, minimum in green, and standard deviation in dashed orange. The chart shows all long-term sales series, for all scenarios considered. This is a visual measure of sales volatility. The process of evaluating MW Express's operating economic accounts involves simulating all the financial movements that occur in the market, which depend on the regulations of each country. The table presents detailed accounts of an analysis scenario in Colombia. The study was carried out based on 3 dimensions of uncertainty: demand, hydroclimatic situation, and spot oil price. The graph presents the cumulative probability function of total revenue. The quasi-plane parts are due to the grouping of scenarios performed, low, medium, and high. For each of the dimensions of uncertainty, 3 conditions were considered: optimistic, medium and pessimistic. The table shows the information about the net profit segmented by group of scenarios. The table shows the relative importance of the uncertainty dimensions, which is measured by its volatility. In this case, the price of fuel generates the greatest variation, and hydrological conditions practically eliminate this variation. A measure of volatility is the ranges of variation of the uncertainty dimension, which vary as follows. Hydrology between 7.962 and 8.142, demand between 7.978 and 8.893, and fuel between 7,632 and 12.811. This means that, for the valuation of MW Express assets, hydrology as a source of uncertainty can be eliminated, and that the most important source is fuel. This is logical, since hydrological models traditionally assume that time series data return to the mean, and therefore the total energy generated in the long term is almost constant. It is common to face the limitation of simulating multiple sources of uncertainty. In the most commercially used models, electrical dispatch can only simulate considering hydrology as the only source of variability. It can become a serious mistake with a high cost to pay. Many professionals would be surprised that eliminating hydrology, as a dimension of uncertainty, would alter the results very little. This is because it is a long-term study. The charts show the volatility of gross revenues, depending on fuel price scenarios. If the volatility of gross revenues is studied in detail, everything seems to indicate that the number of groups of fuel price scenarios should be increased and, in return, those of hydroclimatic conditions could be reduced. It should come as no surprise that separating fuel scenarios into more than 3 groups, low, medium, and high, significantly improves the presentation of results. This is due to the continuity of information. The results will be similar, as the scenarios should not change. The table presents the variability of each group of scenarios. There are many real cases of economic bankruptcies derived from the misuse of mathematical models. Spot price estimators determine the success of the financial evaluation of the profitability of companies in the electricity sector. The quality of mathematical models, based on their realism and accuracy, guarantees good economic results. Not all models give the same results. Like Herbert Simon, Hypothalamus AI believes that the computer-based mathematical modeling is the greatest invention of all times. Thank you for your attention.